It appears Jed York has given a clear message to Brock Purdy at the annual league owners meetings. And it's pretty interesting to see considering the fact I don't think I've ever seen Jed do this before. And he's said it in multiple interviews and had the same frame of thought. And it's pretty interesting. I'm going to let you listen to this whole interview that he had with Mike Garafolo on the NFL Network. But again, he doubles down on what he said in a previous interview with the beat reporter. So take a listen to what he had to say, listen to it all the way through. He talks about multiple things, and we'll react to it on the other side.
All right, here with Niners owner Jed York. Happy April Fool's Day, buddy.
Thanks, man. You're looking really handsome today.
Okay, I got the joke right there. Your offseason, you've had to make some tough decisions because you're at the point now where you know that there's a quarterback extension coming for Brock Purdy. How did you approach this offseason? Did you kind of expect that it would kind of go the way that it has so far?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that we had to make sacrifices around the roster to make sure that you can pay a quarterback, right? Like, it's just math. And I've been in situations where you have a great roster and the quarterback isn't set, and it's hard to have sustained success. We want to make sure that Brock is a long-term partner. We want to make sure that he's a part of our team for a long time. And it's a decision, I don't know exactly when we made it, but it was somewhere in the middle of the season, knowing that you can start negotiating at the end of the third year. And it's like, all right, like, he's our guy. And if he's our guy, you have to know that and make those decisions, and that's where we are right now.
So it was in the middle of last season where you guys, as a front office and an organization, said, this is our guy, we're committing to him. What did you see at that point that led you to have that conversation?
I mean, everything that he's done so far, right? Like, he's been great on the field, he's been great off the field, and it wasn't like you sit down in whatever it was, November, or I can't remember when our bye was, but that's generally when we'll have those types of conversations. But you're not getting deep into free agency, but it's like, look, is anybody opposed to doing Brock? And it's like, no, like, you have to. I mean, last year, I think he was like the 30th highest paid college quarterback, right? So when guys with NIL are making more than a third-year NFL pro, like, there's something wrong with the system with not being able to extend guys earlier in the NFL, right? We changed that in the CBA. I think it was a 2011 CBA, and we were a team that did it with Frank Gore, Patrick Willis, Joe Staley, several others in a generation past 49ers. And we always want to extend our guys early that are going to be a part of it. I wish we could have done something earlier with Brock. That's just not how the rules work.
I know you guys don't want to negotiate through the media, but you've made it clear that you expect something to get done. How productive have the conversations been to this point?
I think they've been good. Like, it's not conversations that I'm having, right? Like, I've seen Brock a few times at the facility. Like, everything is great, everything is cordial. And again, like, he's got to make a decision of what he wants to do. Like, I don't think we're that far apart. I think we can sit down and get something done. But whenever he's ready, we're ready.
And if it's something that lasts through the offseason, because sometimes these things drag out a little bit, you're confident that he'll be able to do what he needs to do this offseason without that done?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything is going to faze Brock. And that's what you love about him. And when he's ready to do something, when he's ready to be a long-term partner with the Niners, then we're ready to have him.
Last one for you. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, you've professed your confidence in both of them as head coach and general manager. How do you assess where they are right now and what they're able to do with this roster to get you back to being a Super Bowl contender?
Look, I mean, there's no one I would rather work with than Kyle and John. They're the best in the league at what they do. I love working with them. I love going to work with them. And when you have challenging circumstances like we have this offseason or anything else, there's no one that you want in the trenches with you more than those two guys.
Appreciate it, Jed.
Thanks, man.
So you heard Garafolo talking about this, asking the question to Jed York about not negotiating through the media, which is kind of an interesting dynamic because it does feel like Mike Garafolo has reported on this situation from the agent perspective. So now he's face to face with the owner, and what he had to say was pretty interesting to me. And again, this was the second time he's mentioned this at these owners meetings, basically saying when Brock is ready, he can come to us and get this done. So what does that mean? It sounds like they're basically discussing the gap between where the 49ers are, where Brock Purdy is, and basically saying, like, we're not going any further. If you want to come and get this done, we are at our ceiling, so come on down and close this gap because we're not moving up anymore. And again, I find this to be fascinating because I've never heard Jed York talk about a contract negotiation like this. So, I mean, I think it's optimistic the way that they're talking about it. Obviously, they mentioned that, everything's going fine and it's a negotiation. We expect it to take time. But again, I do think it is fascinating how Jed York is basically saying when Brock is ready, we're ready for it, which is effectively saying when you're ready to come off the number that you're asking for, we'll get this done with. And again, yeah, this is to me new. I haven't heard Jed do this before. So, and he did it twice while talking with the local media and now talking to a national reporter who, like I mentioned, I think it was like a week or two ago, basically was reporting as if he was being given information from Brock Purdy's agent. We did a video on it. We talked about it. I was like, this sounds like Garofalo saying, like, oh, this is where Brock and their agents are at and in this negotiation. So again, the dynamic of Garofalo interviewing Jed York, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's a little tense, especially towards the end of it. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. I don't know if that you guys pay attention to this kind of stuff. This, unfortunately, me being someone who watches all of these interviews and watches all of these reports and, pays attention to these things, it stood out to me. Now, it might not stand out to you. I'm curious to know how you feel about this. I'm not really concerned in the grand scheme of things. It sounds like they're going to get this done. And also on top of that, it sounds like, a big vote of confidence for Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch throughout this whole situation. So obviously, some changes going on, but it sounds like things are going well between, those three. One of the things I've talked about with Kyle Shanahan is he seemed locked in. Um, they were joking about in the beginning of his interview about how he was on time and how he's typically late to the start of the meeting or whatever. He was on time this time. And I don't know. I think everyone understands the serious nature of where the 49ers are at, what they need to do, and what they have to accomplish. So sounds like everyone's locked in. And we'll see when this deal gets done with Brock Purdy, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I'm curious to know what you guys think about what Jed had to say. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.